Hi, and welcome back to the Republic of Rugby episode 3. 13 days to the Rugby World Cup. I'm pretty excited about that. And our Rugby Cup tickets, World Cup tickets came in the post this week, so we're really excited. Today we're going to be looking at three big rugby news that's happening in the world today. Well, they're my three big news, and I think they're worth talking about. One's going to be the naming of all 20 rugby teams, or squads should I say, for the Rugby World Cup. Two is going to be the style, the two styles that seem to be developing about winning a game. So we'll talk about that a bit. And three, we'll take a close look, or a fairly close look, at the two epic games that are happening this weekend. Australia, New Zealand for the decider in the Tri-Nations, and the second game being Ireland, England in Dublin Lansdowne Road, which is now the Viva Stadium. All Rugby World Cup squads have been picked this week, so let's take a quick look at them. Not all of them obviously, but let's look at the top contenders and the news that is associated with each team. Australia, Horwell has been chosen as captain for the Rugby World Cup, which is an interesting choice. It looks like, I like him, he looks pretty good, I think. On England's side of it, they're sticking with Shaw. Shaw's going to be the oldest player ever to well, I'm assuming he's going to play in the Rugby World Cup. Again, he's their kind of rock in the engine room there. I'm liking the look of Johnny Wilkinson too, actually, but we'll talk about him a bit later in the game analysis. O'Driscoll is an obvious captain. There's no shocks there in the Irish team. But I suppose the two highlights of that team, and two things that stand out for that game, the news with the Irish team, is that Fitzgerald has been left out a line 2 years ago, and so is O'Leary. O'Leary, I suppose, in the sense that he wasn't in great form. I suppose Fitzgerald has to be a lot more disappointed. He'd be pretty gutted, I'd say. New Zealand's pretty predictable team that they've picked, I suppose. Pretty balanced between a bit of youth, especially in the three quarters with Zach Guilford coming in and Corey Jane. It's pretty exciting there, and experience obviously with McCaw, Carter and Co. South Africa is banking on experience. It's pretty amazing. They've got an average of 40 caps per player, which is pretty immense. It's pretty amazing the experience they've got there. We're interesting how they can carry on. Obviously, they're the reigning champions. Let's see how they get on. Wales, Warburton is the new captain. Well, not new captain, I suppose he's been captain for a few games now. Young 22-year-old, exciting, very good player. I think he brings a fresh edge to the Welsh side. Feel a little bit for Martin Williams, who he's still playing pretty good footy, but is going to miss out on his fourth World Cup, which would have been a pretty amazing achievement. Andy Powell gets back and is included into the Welsh side after a good performance against Argentina. He's an interesting character, Andy Powell, but I suppose he brings a bit of edge too. So yeah, they'd have to be pretty happy with that. I'm finding it interesting lately. I don't know if there's two new emerging styles. In fact, they've probably been around for a while. It's the old defensive. England used to play it a lot. Big forwards get down there. They won the last when they won the World Cup. They used that similar style of defence, get down into the opposition half. The opposition concedes a penalty, and they plug away by building points and scoring penalties and conversions and drop-offs. The other style, if you like, is the attacking, attractive rugby that we all like to watch. Also very effective. But I think it's interesting, last week, we saw it against Wales, England a couple of weeks back, where Wales defended well. Amazingly, England had all this possession dominance in the scrum, dominance in the line out. We're attacking, but we're unable to score tries. One partly mainly due to Wales' defensive abilities. Wales hung in there, defended, took the opportunities when they came up, and came out with a good win. Last week, South Africa did the same thing. New Zealand, I think, had at least 5 or 6 opportunity line breaks where they put a lot of pressure on the South African team. South Africa scrambled well, defended well, but when they got their opportunities, and they weren't easy kicks, they got into the New Zealand half. They didn't really look like ever scoring a try at any point, but they took the opportunities when they came up in the kicking wise and got the 3 points, and in the end 18 points. So a good win for the South Africans against the All Blacks last week. So that definite trend of that South Africa seemed to be playing, and as well as Wales, that defensive, score your points. As Villiers said this week, there are no bonus points in World Cup rugby, which is right. So it's a knockout competition, win the game. It doesn't have to be pretty. The other side of the scale is the New Zealand, Australia, who else is in there? France, probably Ireland are trying to play the same game. England are probably trying to play the same kind of style, attacking, flair, rugby, which is very effective. But if you're not scoring the tries, it doesn't work, which came to the front even last week. First game, New Zealand, Australia, Tri-Nations decider in Brisbane. All Blacks haven't lost there in 3 years, I don't think. Australia haven't won the Tri-Nations since 2001. It's really building up to a really exciting game, because why? Australia really want to win and get on. Well, both teams want to win and get on track and show what they can do for the World Cup. But also, last encounter between Australia and New Zealand in Auckland handed a beating up to the Australians. They went away with their tail between their legs, so they'll be looking to put things right. New Zealand have lost last week against the spirited South African side, so they want to put things right as well. So there's a lot at stake. Even though both teams are talking about it's all about the Tri-Nations, and neither of them are thinking about the World Cup, I think it's obviously there in the back of their minds. So it's going to be a really exciting game, and looking forward to that. The emotion. It's Ireland at home again. They play very well at home. Ireland have lost their last 3 or 4 games, so they really need a win. Last game England played was against Wales, and they had a shocker, to be honest. So they want to put things right again. A spirited game in the Aviva Stadium, which used to be Lansdowne Road, obviously. It's going to be a cracker. O'Driscoll not playing because he's injured. O'Brien not playing because of precautionary measures. I think it's going to take a bit of spark out of the Irish attack. Wilkinson in for England. I think he's brilliant. Something tells me he's going to be playing most of the World Cup. He's just that go-to man. He's consistent. The last game he played there, dropped a couple of goals in the first game against Wales, won the game for England, and that's what they need. They need. Flood is obviously the new guy on the block. They want to get him playing, but I think Wilkinson's going to be their go-to man because he's just consistent. He runs a good tight ship. So today he's playing, which is a sign of what they're probably looking for in the World Cup, and I think it's going to be a great game there too. Okay, predictions. Always a toughie, and I don't always get them right, obviously, but my predictions, or my guesstimations more like it, are going to be, for those 2 games, New Zealand, Australia. I'm going for New Zealand by 5 or 10. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be a tough battle, but I think the All Blacks are going to squeeze it out. I think Ireland's going to win. They're going to turn it around. Their recent form hasn't shown, well, they've shown bits and bobs of what they can do and what they've done in the past. I think today they really want to get it together, and they want to click. I think they're going to do it. England seems, they were on good track at the start of the year, obviously, with the Six Nations. They seem to be gone off the rails a wee bit, and it'll be interesting if they can come back into it. But today I'm picking Ireland. I think by a similar margin, actually, probably 10 points. So Ireland. Okay, and that's it. Thanks for watching the Republic of Rugby. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope, if you disagree with some things that I say, or like things on the side, make a comment, let us know what you think, and let's see what happens with these games today and over the next week. See you next time. Okay, and that's it. Thanks for watching the Republic of Rugby. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope, if you disagree with some things that I say, or like things I'm saying, make a comment, let us know what you think, and let's see what happens with these games today and over the next week. See you next time.